Hi guys, Tom here. It's the 6th week of Easter and this is Extra-Ordo-Nary. So this week's theme is witness, and we remember how Jesus' disciples were all witnesses to him, and how since then countless generations of people have witnessed to their faith and have shared it with other people, helping to grow the church, and how in turn you guys are all called to witness to your faith, to share it with other people and to help grow the church. And I think the feasts that we celebrate this week really echo that call of witness, and the stories that we'll hear really show what it means to be a witness to faith. So on Monday we celebrate the feast of St. Augustine of Canterbury. Now he was a Roman, not the murdery Romans, but a Roman missionary who came to England around the year 600 and helped to establish some of the first communities of Christians here in the UK. His witness was so important to the foundations of the church in this country and to helping ensure that the church is what it is today. On Wednesday, it's the feast of this guy. It didn't work. He's meant to be here. We'll try again. On Wednesday, it's the feast of this guy. It worked this time. And this guy is Pope St. Paul VI. And he was a pope in the 1960s and 70s. He brought to a close the Second Vatican Council, and he really drove the church into the 20th century, helping to modernize it. And a lot of the way that Mass is celebrated today is because of his influence and because of the changes that he brought into Mass and into the church in general. He was a real witness to the church in the 20th century. Thursday is the great celebration of the Ascension. The Ascension is when Jesus returned to heaven to be with his Heavenly Father and to continue to watch over and guide us through our lives and to, as he said, prepare a place for us. The disciples were witnesses to this great action of ascending into heaven. And we're called to remember that regularly, particularly today as it's such an important feast in the church. Friday is the feast of the Visitation. And this is when Mary travelled to her sister Elizabeth shortly after she found out she was pregnant to share that joy with her sister. And at the time, Elizabeth was present with John the Baptist. And in the Bible it tells us that when Mary appeared to Elizabeth, the baby inside Elizabeth's womb leapt with joy. She brought Jesus within her to her sister, and that caused such a huge moment of joy in her sister and her sister's baby's life. And this week, I think, as we reflect on witness, it's really important to reflect on how we take Jesus to other people and how that witness that we share brings them joy. But also to reflect on the people in our own lives who have brought Jesus to us and have shared that joy with us. On Saturday, it is the feast of St. Justin Martyr. His name is Justin Martyr, and he was also a martyr. So I suppose he's kind of St. Justin Martyr. He was a really intelligent thinker in the early church, and he brought together huge areas of thought and really sort of condensed them into what a lot of our knowledge about the church comes from today. He united Christian thought with a lot of the way that the ancient Greek religion and the ancient Greek philosophers thought, and kind of used the parable of the sower to say that the ancient Greeks had an understanding of God, but that Jesus fulfilled and completed that knowledge. And he had such a huge role in building the early church and building the early church's communities of thinkers, so that a lot of the things that we know and take for granted about our faith today really stemmed from his work and from his teachings. He's an incredibly important member of the early church. And as his name suggests, he was eventually executed for his faith. So strong was his witness that people were afraid of what he was saying, and he was eventually prepared to witness to his faith through his death. So that's all we've got time for this week. This week we've been thinking about witness and how you can witness to your faith and how others have witnessed and inspired you in your life. So continue to think about those people and maybe leave a comment below of some of the names of people who have really inspired you in your faith. But that's all we've got time for today. My name's been Tom, this has been Extraordinary, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!